down a little bit so I can welcome you all to the Newlypod game. It is the game featuring podcast co-hosts that either podcasted together a long time ago, have not technically podcasted together yet, and have been teasing us for months. I'll let you judge who in this group represents what group. But as introductions go, let me introduce my first team. We have Heidi Bennett and Molly Balin from the Cast. Next up in the line, I have George Hendricks and Liz Whitaker from Dune Minute. And wrapping up our dais here, we have Jonathan Howell and Murren Kennedy from the Cast and the Furious. We are going to be playing 3 rounds today with 1 lightning round to catch up our last place team, if that comes to it. But in this first round, I have asked multiple choice questions of each team ahead of time. So the way it's going to work is half of the team, I already have your answer. The other half of the team, it's going to be your job to answer the question that I have queued up for you. So let me make sure I have my notes in front of me, because I am just a fabulous host that's fully prepared at all times to have all of my stuff in front of me. So let's move on to question 1. So, like I told you, I'm not my notes here.
Yes!
So, I'm going to ask Molly, Liz, and Murren to answer this question. In terms of research, how would you describe your co-host? And your options are A, an Encyclopedia Britannica, B, a poorly maintained Wikipedia article, or C, someone who has never seen the movie. Now, I've already got the answer from Heidi, George, and Jonathan. So co-hosts, write your answer now.
What he said about me, right though?
Wait, who said about who?
Yeah.
You are writing about yourself. So, Molly, you're answering for yourself. Liz, you're answering for yourself.
What I said about you. Yeah.
Yes.
It's what Jonathan thinks of me.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have one.
Look at that podcast.
No.
Now, this is a game from the 1960s that was very easy for them to comprehend. Here in 2019, it's a different world.
This should explain some things.
That was back before they had science.
All right, so it looks like Murren is done writing. So let's figure out who said what. So, Molly, what did you answer? You said B, a poorly maintained Wikipedia article. And wouldn't you know that it's exactly what Heidi said? That is 5 points for you. Liz, what did you answer? C, someone who's never seen the movie? Well, guess what? That's 5 minutes. Murren, what did you answer?
B.
You said B, a poorly maintained Wikipedia article? That's 5 points for you, too. An excellent showing for question 1. We are going to switch. So Molly, Liz, and Murren, you are off the hook for question 2, which is, since scheduling can be a challenge, how cooperative are you? Now, Heidi, George, and Jonathan, you're answering for yourselves here. So are you A, always available, B, frequently fugacious, which means, flighty. Which, honestly, that F word probably would have been a lot better. But you know what? Or are you C, mostly missing? All right, I see Jonathan's good, George is good, Heidi. All right. So let's check on these answers. Heidi, what did you answer? You said A, always available. Let's see if Molly said the same thing, and she did. All right. George, what did you answer? You said always available as well. Let's see what Liz said. The same. And Jonathan, what is your answer?
Always fun, always available.
Always available? Looks good to me. It's 5 points.
It's crazy about being able to make these podcasts.
strange you haven't been able to make this podcast. We're all available.
All right, let's move on to question 3. We're switching off. You should be pretty caught up as far as how we're switching off here.
Got
So,
it.
for question 3, when it comes to sticking to the subject at hand, which movie character best describes you? So, are you A, Davish, stay-on-target Krail, which I'm sure everybody remembers who that is, obviously. Are you Ivan, if he dies, Drago? Or are you C, Karen, want to go to Taco Bell? Smith?
Stop it. Yeah, there's a little whispering over here.
Illusion! Please don't be colluding over there. You're killing me, Murren.
I'm ready.
All right, let's check your answers here.
Pickup knife.
Molly, you answered C. Let's see what Heidi said. Oh! Apparently Heidi thinks you're a little bit more meandering than that. Is there a story behind that? Does she read from topic to topic?
No. No, I tried to play the odds and I lost.
All right, let's see if George and Liz did a little bit better. What'd you answer? I'm a moose, duh.
Mouse.
Oh. Liz said C. What did George say? C! Murren, what'd you say?
B.
Oh! Apparently, Jonathan thinks you're a little bit more scatterbrained than that. That puts Liz and George in a 5-point lead this round going into question 4. So, for question 4. If you could swap, so once you get started, what would your co-host describe you as? Are you a chatty Cathy? Are you a quiet Quincy? Or are you a mumbling Marty? You can tell I really love alliteration. Can't help it.
Yeah, to be honest with you. Okay. This was a tough one. Hopefully I'm not been mumbling. Very good, Mark. All right, and just
Heidi's thinking long and hard about this one.
depends on my mood, man.
All right, Jonathan, you all set over there?
Yep.
Excellent. Let's see how the questions shook out. So Heidi, you answered B. Molly actually considers you a chatty Cathy. From all of the times listening to you, I believe the chatty Cathy answer.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know about the B answer. All right. George, what did you answer? You said A, which is exactly what Liz said. And Jonathan, what did you answer?
Kathy.
A chatty Cathy? Boom, that's another 5 points.
More like a mumbling murder.
Murren always speaks so clearly and so beautifully, I couldn't call him mumbling at all. Moving on to question 5. So, how do you interact with guests during an episode? Do you roll out the red carpet? Do you roll with the punches? Or do you roll over everything in your path? Answer thoughtfully, because your co-hosts have opinions. How do you think they answered? Jonathan and Murren, you guys are writing books over there. Only one of you has to answer for each question. You don't have to put that much effort into it. It's just a game. All right. So, Molly, how did you answer on this one? You said B. Heidi actually found you much more accommodating with that and said you roll out the carpet for guests.
Oh, really? Yeah. Really? Welcome. Yada, yada, yada. The fabulous, amazing, etc.
Liz, how did you answer this round? You said B, rolling with the punches, and wouldn't you know, that's another 5 points. And Murren, how do you think Jonathan said? You said C. You thought C roll, but it was actually just so much more rolling with the punches.
You're so nice. You're so nice.
I mean, that's not a bad thing to be. Not bad at all. So let's move on to question 6. So it's important to know when to call it a night. So which movie best describes your strategy for episode runtimes? Are you A, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, Extended Edition? Are you Reservoir Dogs, snappy and clippy and everyone's like really tight and whatnot? Or are you just Gone in 60 seconds? How would you describe your strategy for episode runtimes?
I don't think we're Zoom cuts off.
Challenging when I'm
Jonathan, you don't have to paint a picture. It's a letter. That's it.
Wait on me, let's go.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm a
Heidi,
lefty. Do we know each other at all?
Heidi, you said B, Reservoir Dogs, nice and snappy. Molly, on the other hand, said Gone in 60 seconds, I guess thinking that as soon as the recording's over, you just disappear.
That's true. I bow out gracefully. But I do it. Boom, 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 boom.
All right. George, what did you answer? You said B, Reservoir Dogs. That is another 5 points for Liz. And Jonathan, how did you answer this? You said Gone in 60 seconds. Unfortunately, Murren answered B. I probably should have put in an option there for whenever the Zoom runs out, because that really is.
Not in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, no, you could just send another link.
Or if I'm there, it's forever.
Yeah.
There's always a
Click the button.
Yeah, Liz has got the magic potion. Anyway, moving on to question 7. Let's keep this going. So, how would your co-host describe your editing style? Do you slash burn, boil it all down? Do you take it easy and skim off the excess? Or do you just say screw it and upload it raw? Molly's good. Liz, still working on it. Murren's, of course, writing a book over there. Liz, it's a letter. Okay. All right. Well, Molly, how did you answer? You said A, slash burn and boil it all down. Well, guess what? That is 5 points for your team. Back to the action after a bit of a drought. Liz, how did you answer? You said the opposite of
The lump cut.
the lump cut.
It's C. I also put the answer.
Okay, so you just said C. Okay.
I editorialized.
Say George was a bit more discerning than that, saying you take it easy and skim off the excess.
Describe it.
Yeah.
Murren, how did you answer this one?
B.
You said B. That is another 5 points for you guys. Very good.
I'm guessing.
Let's keep this going. This is question 8 here in round 1.
Justice for Romeo.
When you're confronted by a disgruntled listener, will you be polite and hear them out, tune out the haters, or C, find them in a parking lot and start a fist fight?
It's a good strategy. I like it.
Looks like everyone's good to go. So Heidi, how did you answer this one? You said B, tune out the haters. That is exactly what Molly said. For another 5 points. All right, George, how did you answer this one? A. Unfortunately, Liz said B. You tune them out. Which honestly, that's just the healthiest thing. And Jonathan, what did you answer for this one? You said fist fight.
Didn't say fist fight.
I mean, fist, that's an answer. Murren considered you a bit more in the tuning out the haters thing. bit more okay than that. All right, so here, that wraps up round one. Let me tally this real quick. We got 20 points for Heidi and Molly. We got 30 points for Liz and George, and we've got 20 points for Jonathan and Murren going into round two. So round two is going to be a series of open-ended questions, so you actually will have the opportunity to write a book. I don't look at any of those answers. That's what I get for leaning on the mouse here. So for question one, this is going to be Molly, Liz, and Murren again. Which celebrity do you sound most like?
Celebrity.
Yeah. Think of all the celebrities in the world. Which one does your co-host think that you sound most like?
I have no idea.
Take a shot in the dark, Molly.
Just go for the laugh.
Now, I should remind you, round two questions are worth 10 points each.
You should tell us for the first one.
Yeah. Let me rewind to the, these are open-ended questions. You're gonna guess what your partner answered, and each one's worth 10 points, just FYI. Anyway, let's see what your partners answered as you answered. Molly, what was your answer? You said Will Ferrell. Heidi said that you actually sound more like Tracy Grandstaff, who was the voice of Daria.
Oh!
A little obscure, I'm sure. Liz, what did you answer? Sylvester Stallone.
I don't know why you think that.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
George actually thinks you sound most like Tina Fey.
Oh, you went like realistic.
Yeah. Like in your everyday speaking. Murren, who do you think you sound most like?
7.
The number 7. Do you care to elaborate on that one?
Well, 7 is the name of Andre 3000's son that he had with Erica Badu, so that's a real purpose.
Okay, well, Jonathan said Vin Diesel.
Okay.
So, 0 points there. We are off to a great start here in round 2. I have huge high hopes for how this is going to go.
Let's go back to multiple choice.
Question number 2.
We got a big.
And this is somewhat related to the question I just asked. Regardless of the situation, what is your go-to impression? Yep. So Heidi, George, and Jonathan. In a pinch, who do you go to? Who are you gonna just pretend to be? Liz, you don't have to answer. This is your round.
I told you how I feel about Travis. I wasn't joking.
Rack your mind, Heidi.
Oh, no.
Just pull anyone out of the ether if you want.
Okay.
All right, let's see how those answers turned out. Heidi, who do you think your best impression is? Nigel Thompson. That's a deep cut, not bad. Molly actually said that you don't do impressions.
Oh.
There are many punk rock references, but no actual impressions. So I guess Molly kind of set you up with a trick question there. I don't know about that, Molly. I'm trying to hold you. George, who is your celebrity go-to? You said Hellfire, John Woo. I'm gonna need a judgment from the audience because Liz said a Southern accent. Should I give it to her? That sounds pretty good. I'm gonna give it 10 points.
Thanks for making John Southern.
Jonathan, who is your go-to impression?
I don't know. I do 1,000 of them.
So Brian De Palma, John Wayne,
Are
and
any of those
Billy.
3 right?
All right, well, Murren actually said that your go-to impression is Vin Diesel / Luther Stickman.
You had too many.
It's two Abrams, Ben Diesel, and we have not gotten it yet. This show's gonna be awesome.
All right, let's move on to question 3 here in round
Been on
2.
our show, not on your show.
He did my show. Because that's the biggest thing I've recorded in the last 6 months.
So, here for question 3. What is the one subject that you would never discuss on the podcast? This is a deep thought one. What is the off-limits answer?
Although keep in mind, the young listeners as well.
So yeah, the thing you wouldn't talk about on a podcast, you're gonna say it in person, a bunch of things.
You don't have to elaborate on it, just,
The subject.
you know. Molly, Liz, Murren, let us know what is the one subject that you stay away from. Liz, I can see that answer. You know it's a lie.
That's all you talk about. Yours, other people's, it doesn't matter.
All right, well, while Liz is finishing up, let's see how the answers boiled out for round 3. Molly, you said politics. Heidi actually said that no subject is off limits to you. You can really discuss anything. These last 2 rounds, you have been just sabotaging yourself by giving out trick answers. I should have done something as a responsible host ahead of time. Liz, what did you answer for this question? You said the actual living. Hold on to your pants. George,
That was a much better answer.
Murren, how did you answer this?
7.
7? I feel like there's a pattern forming. Lucky for you, because that's exactly what you I want everybody to know. Liz was the first person to give me back her answers. George waited until yesterday.
Exactly, yeah, we bookend each other.
So here for question 4. Which actor from your movie do you dislike the most? Dislike. Who is that? One
The
character.
movie we're doing now.
I
It's
thought
a
you
weird
wrote-
podcast.
Yeah, for you guys over there, it's a movie you're doing together.
That's what I said.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn to answer.
So Heidi, George, and Jonathan, it's your turn to answer.
Yeah,
Your movie, Cabin in
Which
the
one
Woods.
do I, sorry, I got confused. Which character do
Do
you
you
dislike?
dislike?
Wait, actor or character?
Character.
Which character?
Did it say actor? Oh yeah. Which actor? That's why I wrote it down. If I was doing all this by memory, it would not work.
The character that I dislike?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
can do either or, because I think
All right, Heidi, which actor from Cabin in the Woods do you dislike the most? You said Tim DeZarn. Oh, you mean the guy who played Mordecai?
Yes!
That's 10 points. George, who do you dislike the most in Dune?
Sting.
Sting. Legendary Sting.
I don't actually dislike Sting, but that's the only person she knows is in this movie.
Jonathan, which actor do you dislike most from The Fast and the Furious?
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule? The guy who played Edwin? All right, let's move on to question 5. If you could replace your co-host with any actor from your chosen movie, who would it be? So you are ditching your co-host and pulling an actor from the movie that you've chosen to cover.
So is this our co-host replacing us? Like who they replace us with?
No. Like you are the host of the podcast, and you get to kick Jonathan out and replace him with someone else.
So this is what Jonathan thinks I would say.
Yes.
Thanks for joining the show.
Once again, this show was popular in the 60s. It was a different time.
The way you worded it was confusing to me.
That's how the newlywed game works.
In the butt.
All right. You good, Murren? Can I start?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll be done by the time I get to you, I'm sure. So, Molly, you answered Marty. Marty, of course, played by Fran Kranz, who listeners to Captain the Woods Minute will remember that guy was like freaking jacked. So I completely understand the answer. Yeah, totally understand. So, Liz, who would you replace George with? Dogs. Specifically cute pugs. While I don't begrudge you the answer, unfortunately that is the incorrect answer, because George thought that you would pull in Patrick Stewart.
He loves them. I only know that Sting is in the movie.
I'm giving you room to grow.
He has hair.
I say, you had all the time in the world to give me these answers. You could have gone on IMDb.
You could have watched the movie.
Okay. Murren, who would you replace Jonathan with?
Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel? Actually, Jonathan thought that you would replace him with Christopher Ludacris Bridges.
Either would be better, but
Do you not like him as much as we all think you do? Or?
I do like Ludacris.
I'll be satisfied with that. Let's move on to question 6. So, co-hosts, what is the weirdest place you have ever recorded an episode?
In the butt.
Heidi, George, and Jonathan, let us know where the weirdest place it is that you've ever recorded an episode of your podcast.
So I should put in the butt? Should actually. Honestly, you probably should.
Wait, did you say me or him?
So,
You answer.
Heidi, George, and Jonathan, where is the weirdest place that you've ever recorded a podcast? Okay. Today's game is also brought to you by these fake prescription forms that Tierney printed out, because that is how I am keeping score, because I am always prepared. All right.
Yeah, we
Looks
have
like
a
we're all
swag
set to
table
go.
over there too, for anybody who wants.
So, Heidi, what is your answer? You said in the butt. Now I know how Will Ferrell on Celebrity Jeopardy feels, because Molly actually said, quote, Heidi does not share kinky podcast recording locales. Should we give it to him anyway? I feel like it kind of works out. George, what is your answer? You said, an Uber with Patrick. Now, Liz didn't specify who you were with, but she did say in the backseat of an Uber. And Jonathan, what
This
was
is
your
also
answer?
from my show. That's all we've done lately.
I was on your show more than you.
Record your own show.
Quit asking me that.
Jonathan, what's your answer?
My real answer is here, the MxM stage, or at all.
In the middle of your house.
With no pants.
I say Liz actually got the answer a lot closer, because Murren said that you always record in the same exact place.
When I answered we hadn't done this yet, so okay, John.
Should we give it to them? Should we give them penny points?
Whether I win by an inch or a mile, I'm gonna win this thing.
Yeah. We never ask any real
You never had this
Newlypod
game.
game.
All right, well, this next one should be easy. The question is, what do you drink while recording? So, Molly, Liz, and Murren, what do you drink while recording?
No. That's not the answer. How do you hold the ball?
Liz is still writing. So Liz, I'm gonna start. You just have to catch it.
I'm done.
All right. So Molly, you said coffee or sparkling water. Heidi said that you more often drink tea.
I've never drank tea.
You never drank tea ever?
No, just not podcasting.
Oh, okay.
Nothing hot.
Tea?
I feel shamed, dude.
I'm sorry, dude.
Liz, what do you drink while recording?
Hey Molly, you want to
Say-
record the Fast and the Furious with me?
Never the same unless it's Woodyard, then it's whiskey. Well, let's see what George said. George said anything she can get her hands on, and in parentheses, but when it's the Woodyard, it's whiskey. And Lauren, what do you drink while recording?
Corona, when you hear your family.
Oh
Oh my gosh. Let's see what the actual
I
answer
didn't think
is.
you were going to answer it, Real. I thought you were going to make a joke.
Water. The correct
I say
answer
that counts.
was water.
It is water
I would only accept water in the place of Corona if you were talking about like Mexican toilet water, but that's beside the point.
It is water. It's got
Is it
water on the
boring?
can.
All right, let's move on to question 8. Let's keep this going. So, between the two of you, who uses the most crutch words? For instance, like, you know, and actually. Just a spattering of example crutch words. So, Heidi, George, and Jonathan, between the two of you, who uses the most crutch words? Looks like everybody's good to go. Let's see how those answers shook out. Heidi, what'd you say? You said Molly uses more crutch words. She agrees with you for 10 points. George, what did you think? You think, actually like me, you know. Unfortunately, Liz also has the same opinion of herself. You guys are casting stones at each other. You need to team up and just, destroy one or two.
Self-deprecating.
Yeah. All right. Jonathan, who uses more crutch words?
Me?
Oh, it's the same boat as George and Liz because Murren threw himself under the bus. Man.
I typed out those answers.
Don't tell get a better opinion of yourself.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's move on to question 9. Let's keep this moving. So what is the most embarrassing noise that you have ever made while recording? So Molly, Liz, and Murren, what is the most embarrassing noise that you've made while recording? Molly, that giggle tells me that you've got an answer already cooked up in your
Gotta
head.
be. It's not fair.
This is about me, right?
This is about you.
Because I'm unhinged, I get a win.
I know that. I know your answer.
Everyone knows this is.
All right. So, Molly, I'm going to need you to hold up your answer, and instead of me reading it, I would like you to read it
Okay,
to explain what you've got going on here.
okay.
So it's the, that's all folks noise.
Ah, okay. Heidi actually remembers you snorting as the most embarrassing noise.
You were right. I just maybe I just
that one.
I know. I
I mean, I guess it
forgot about
depends on what you were snorting at the time, but
Yeah.
let's move on. Liz, what is your answer for the most embarrassing noise?
Crying about a chicken?
Crying about a chicken. Where was that
It was in a bedroom!
chicken? Because that's exactly what George said. Uncontrollable weeping at the sight of a chicken on a
So
bed.
upsetting.
Also not your podcast.
This time it wasn't yours either. So
It was mine.
No one together.
Murren, what is the most embarrassing sound you
I
made
don't
on?
know, engine noises?
engine noises. I don't want to write this to you, but Jonathan says that your most embarrassing noise was your Vin Diesel impression.
It's still funny to drag it. Sometimes you're dragging me as a joke, and sometimes you're being real. It's very
Welcome to this.
And if you're going to drag your co-host, Jonathan, make sure it's only a quarter mile at a time. Let's move on to question 10. This is the last one in round 2. What is the lamest excuse you've given your co-host to postpone a recording? So your co-host comes to you and they're like, I want to record. What is the lamest excuse you've ever given? So, Heidi, George, and Jonathan, I want to hear those lame excuses that you have given your co-host.
I said my answers first.
Think, Heidi.
You're like cold shouldering each other.
That was someone else's podcast.
Those are not limits.
That was to me.
Yeah, that was the year.
Murren's body language. This podcast.
All right.
Arms crossed, legs crossed.
Let's see those answers. Heidi, what did you answer? You said, I just can't. Did that ever actually happen?
I don't know.
Because Molly doesn't think it did. She says that you've never postponed on
I
it.
don't think these questions are tricky. I don't think I ever did either, but.
George, what did you answer? You said, let's have a production meeting instead. Has that ever happened? Like ever?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay. Well, Liz, you told me earlier that you've never postponed a recording.
Because I answered before Tuesday.
This doesn't take that into account, Rick.
Jonathan, what did you answer? You said
baseball game?
kids baseball game. Murren actually said that you once postponed a podcast because of a spa vacation. That brings us to the end of round 2. Let me total up these points real quick.
Just about time, so we can lighten the lightning round.
All right, so as fun as the lightning round is going to be, we're going to lightning through this. So the idea is that I was going to have Murren and Jonathan, actually no, I think let's do it. Let's do it. We'll do it live. So, Murren and Jonathan, you are in the last place with 40 points, and so I'm going to need each of you to answer at the same time. I'm going to give you 2 options. You're not going to write it down, you're just going to shout it out. It's the lightning round. So, I'm going to give you 2 options. If you match, you get, I don't know, let's say like 8 points. I don't know, let's say 5.
How about 40?
All right, so, first one. Pineapple yes or pineapple no on pizza?
Yes.
2, 3, no.
No. Okay.
All right. So, Pete Mummert or Pete the Retailer? 3, 2, 1. Retailer.
You don't take me into it.
Here.
All right.
I'm just sitting in the corner watching.
Discord or Zencaster? 1, 2, 3.
Discord.
Yeah. Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce or Clint Hawkeye Barton? 1, 2, 3.
Benjamin Franklin.
Yep.
I'm going to give it to you anyway. Zoom or Skype? 3, 2, 1.
Zoom. Oh, that.
Liz, stop. All right. G.R.R. Martin or J.R.R. Tolkien? 3, 2, 1.
George R. Martin.
XLR microphone or USB microphone? 3, 2, 1.
XLR.
Yeah. Ellen Ripley or Sarah Connor? 3, 2, 1.
Ellen Ripley.
Wait, you guys
I said Helen.
turn into mumbling Murren over there. All right, subtitled or dubbed when it comes to foreign films. 3, 2, 1.
Subtitle.
Yeah. Stallone or Schwarzenegger? 3, 2, 1.
Stallone.
That brings us to round 3. Let's see. 5, 6, 8. It's another 4. Okay.
We're vindicated now.
So, going into the final round, Heidi and Molly have 60 points. Liz and George have 90. Jonathan and Murren have redeemed themselves and given them another 40 points, bringing them up to 80. So it is still anyone's game, because here in round 3, I'm going to throw a real curveball at you. I'm going to ask you both one last question. You're going to write 2 answers on your board, one for yourself and one for your co-host. Each correct match is worth 20 points, so there's 40 points on the table here. So it still could be anyone's game. Like Heidi and Molly, if you both get the thing right and everybody else bails on it, then you'll be good. Anyways, moving on to the question. The final question is, given a consequence-free and judgment-free situation, which character from your movie would you most like to join you for some whoopee? Answer for yourself and for your co-host. Pick a character, not the actor. That's why I put the consequence and judgment-free in there. I had to cover bases.
Are you married? Yes. She said it's almost boobs.
Okay, well now you're next.
I should have looking good. Their answer is 7. Liz is shrugging. George is halfway done.
Character, not actor.
Character.
I know the hell.
All right. Murren, it looks like are you still working over there?
I'm done.
You're done? Jonathan, you still working?
For him.
Practicing your signature for your divorce papers?
Oh, that's right.
All right. Well, we're going to start down here at the end. Jonathan, we'll let you think about what you're doing over there. Think about what you've done. So, Heidi and Molly, let's see your answers. So, for Heidi, you said...
Merman?
Merman.
I didn't know we were going supernatural.
So,
That
Heidi
was an
said
option.
Marty. Oh, yeah, I said no point there. Let's see. Kurt and... Fornicus? Oh! That is those are great answers, but none of them match up. That is a total of 60 points for Heidi and Molly here at the end of the game. Just remember, there are no losers, there are only people who didn't get enough points to win. Liz and George, let's see how your answers maybe matched up. So, I'm like way over here. You guys can
No judgment.
Liz would love to get together with Duke Leto, where George thinks that Liz would prefer pugs. And George says that he would want to get together with Sting, where Liz says that he would want to get together with a sandworm. Because he would know how to attract them. So that means you wrap up the game with 90 points. Jonathan and Murren, let's see if any of your answers match up. Once again, I am over here at the end of the stage. Jonathan, is number 1 for you and number 2 for Murren? How does that go?
It's whatever his is, it's how it matches up.
Right.
Top and bottom.
So Murren says Brian, and then are you saying?
Paul Walker.
Yeah.
This is the same guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. They didn't listen to the instructions.
What did you say?
Honestly, I didn't commit the character and actors to memory.
But
So
you
I'm
hate
not
John.
doing that.
That's why when you
So it's John and who was the other one? Dom. All right. That is an extra 20 points for Murren and Jonathan, giving them 100 points at the end of the game, meaning they are your winners for Our winning team are each going home with a I take-home Bluetooth color-changing rechargeable speaker. And as a consolation prize, you can all keep your whiteboards.